Fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you. Glad you came too. Like you said when you know you got moves. You spit game and you know you spit.
Hello and welcome back to the Fastlane Collective. I have missed you guys so much. I was not here last week. You guys just had Brianna. And this week, you just have me. This is quite a different way for our podcast. Usually it's either two of us or the full gang, me, Brianna, and Daniela all together. So the fact that now we're having 2 episodes of just one of us, this is a bit weird. So yeah, excuse probably the awkward silences of me going, oh my God, like I don't have anyone to banter with, I guess. Yeah, we are busy women this period of these last couple of weeks, holidays, trying to balance work-life balance. We're busy, but that doesn't mean that we forget about the Fastlane Collective. We have so much passion for this podcast. So even though you've just got me, you'll see Brianna and Daniela soon, okay? So you just gotta wait. But we shall be back, especially over now that we're in at the hiatus of F1. This is so weird, like no races. Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like going, when's next race? Oh yeah, like 3 weeks time. But the drivers and the team and everyone who works in F1 deserves a break. But hey, I'm rambling on. Let's talk about Hungary. Usually we have a news segment, but there's next to no news this week. I have been scrolling on my phone on the day of recording, and there is just nothing. It is silence. It's just talking about Hungary. So we're going to get into it. But I honestly, every time we record and we're like, okay, no news, or we've finished a news segment, something comes out. So I can put money on it, that as soon as I wrap up, there's going to be, I don't know, another team principal leaves. Christian Horner's back. So hopefully not. Anyway, getting into Hungary. Honestly, guys, kind of a boring race. I can't lie. It was a bit lackluster for me. I was kind of hoping for a safety car, something to kind of zhuzh it up a wee bit. But no. Not the most boring race I think we've had so far this season. But really we only had big pieces of excitement when it came to Charles Leclerc's radio and those last couple of laps between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. But we'll get all into that in a wee minute here. So I just want to start off with McLaren. This is McLaren's 200th, say that 3 times fast, 200th F1 win. I mean, incredible. And it's their 7th 1-2 finish of the 2025 season. McLaren have just been on fire this season. And when you look back, I've been a fan and an F1 fan for so long, and to see how they've kind of just climbed back to the top, it's so satisfying. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are both incredible drivers, and they both deserve to be getting all the success. So it's an incredible thing to watch. Again, we're in that period of time, we're watching F1 history, and it's just incredible. And it's great to see another team kind of just take over the dominance. But that could all change, of course, next year in 2026. We're having huge shake-up with regulations. 2026, honestly, if you're kind of in and out of F1 and haven't really been keeping up to date, maybe you just listen to some podcasts here and there and don't properly watch the race, 2026 is going to be the year that you guys want to watch. I'm honestly more excited thinking about that than this year so far, unless we're talking about, is Lando Norris going to win the championship, or Oscar Piastri is going to win the championship? That's really the only excitement that we have this year. But anyway, again, I'm going off topic. This happens a lot, okay? This is why I need Brianna here to keep me in track. So yes, McLaren, 200th F1 win. Incredible season for them so far. But let's talk about Lando Norris in his race. In the starting grid, he qualified P3 behind Leclerc and Piastri. And during their race, they had quite the bold strategy call. They had a one-stop, which paid off in the end for Lando. He stayed on hard tyres for 39 laps, then switched and held Piastri off by just 0.698 seconds. over 70 laps. Oh, McLaren, I just want to, well done on that strategy call, because Lando had really not the best start. This seems to be like a recurring thing that I've noticed and picked up on, at least in the last couple of races with Lando. His start is just not the best, or is not as good as Oscar's. And when comparing the two, Oscar can go right off the bat and get off the grid, but I don't know. This weekend it was just not for Lando the start. Yeah, which was quite a shame. So we kind of had to make it up with the strategy. And McLaren, I mean, they're not like Ferrari, okay? They have it together. They can make the calls when the calls are needed to be made. And it paid off. It paid off. If McLaren did not have that strategy call with Lando, I definitely think Oscar would have been the one to win. This is not to take away from Lando Norris's race. He had an incredible race, great pace. But I think Oscar just had the faster car between the two of them this weekend. But yes, Lando Norris, congratulations. And I'm so happy your trophy has not been smashed this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw on social media or when you were watching the race, when it was coming to the celebrations with the champagne on the podium, the first thing Lando Norris did was take his trophy and move it to the side. Because I think Hungary, they have like the best trophy. It just looks like it's so fragile and it looks just gorgeous. I would love to have something like a replica made in my house, but there's too much F1 stuff in my house anyway. But I just thought that was so funny that he didn't want, a repeat of last year. So yes, smart thinking, Lando. So just moving on to Oscar Piastri. Oscar qualified P2 behind Leclerc, and again we'll get into that incredible pole position from Leclerc in a wee minute. His race, he was stuck to the 2-stop plan, made ground late, but then locked up. Oh, this hurt to watch. Locked up on his tires on lap 69 and lost the chance to lead. I think if he didn't lock up, he would have just either passed him on that lap or would have been the next lap. And it was so tight. It was so tight, them two. And it just shows like the dedication and like I just couldn't watch it. Like I'm literally getting like tongue tied thinking about it, because I was like, no, I honestly thought they were both going to crash into each other. I thought we were going to have a Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. What year is that? 2016 in Spain, was it? Yeah. So I've been waiting for them to both collide, and I gotta give it to them. They both haven't crashed. They've been close. They've been very close, but they haven't collided into each other and ruined each other's races so far. And that shows a different level of professionalism and maturity from them too. I think that could be something, you're in the heat of the moment of these races, like every point matters, every second matters, every turn of the wheel matters. And the fact that they can kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. They're just both so professional, and incredible drivers, both of them. I mean, well done. I know Zach Brown has said that they're allowed to race, but the one thing they're not allowed to do is collide. And so far, the McLaren boys, the Papaya boys, have kept up to that promise. And hopefully, well, I hope they kind of don't, because I like the drama. Okay, I know I should be like, oh, it's great that they didn't do that, but I can't see it happen. I know it's bad. But I kind of do. Okay, and I know you do too. Okay, don't lie to me. I know you want to see this happen as well. But yes, incredible race from Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Oscar was quoted after the race saying it was a bit painful but made for a great finish. And yes, a 1-2, incredible. And Oscar is still ahead of Lando Norris in the championship standings. He still leads by 9 points, which is 284 he's got over Norris's 275 points. So there's still plenty of time for Lando to overtake that lead, or Oscar to widen the gap. We're only halfway through the season. So there's still plenty of time to see kind of where this championship is going to go. Of course, it's either going to be Lando or Oscar that is going to be winning this championship, but it's still got that excitement. Like, I kind of hope we're down to the last couple of races of a point here, a point there, and you can't build that like 2021 excitement up, not to the same extent of Lewis and Max, but that same like, oh, down to the last race. There's something about a championship being decided in the last race that is just, it's just different. It's special, and it doesn't always happen. So I kind of hope we have that this year. Won't keep my hopes up, but I'm really hoping for a really spicy kind of battle towards the end of the year. But yeah, incredible from McLaren. I mean, a perfect weekend from them. Again, 1-2, team's happy. Pit stops were fast. And by the way, pit stops this weekend were from most teams were pretty incredible. They were on the ball this weekend. So yeah, congrats to McLaren. Oh, we've got to talk about Ferrari next. Oh goodness. I need like a stiff drink to talk about Ferrari, to be honest. Let's start with Charles Leclerc, okay? First off, took a stunning pole position. His and Ferrari's first in Hungary in years, by the way. And I I was really expecting. See, as soon as I heard that he took pole, 'cause I wasn't watching qualifying and live. I was shocked again, as usual, on my F1 on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was like a fake post, because I get those fake posts all the time of like different F1 news. I've been taken as a mug before, and I honestly thought, oh, like this is a joke. No, he took pole. Just such a. I think even Ferrari were quite confused of, oh, we're on pole. And that shock kind of showed with their strategy. They didn't really know what to do with anymore. Haven't won a race in ages. They don't really know what to do. The race, it basically Charles Leclerc's race just kind of unraveled mid-race. As usual, Ferrari radio. When I see a Ferrari, just that wee like icon of like them talking to their drivers, I just want to put it on mute. I don't want to hear what they have to say, because I'm going to get pissed off. I'm going to get annoyed, and I was this race. So Charles Leclerc just he lost pace. He was overtaken by Russell, and he said on the radio, Charles Leclerc, we're going to lose. We're not going to get on the podium. Like, at this point, it'll be a miracle if we get on the podium, because it's not going to happen. And he was correct, because he finished P4. How do you go from pole to P4? Ugh. And that frustration just he laid it out. That radio message covered my entire TV screen. He was just so pissed off, and I was pissed off. I was like shouting at the TV, like, what? They're right. Breathe, Yasmin, breathe. This is why I need like Brianna and Daniela here to calm me down. The thing that I constantly see with Ferrari and the strategy is Charles Leclerc always says, I could literally do the strategy and race at the same time because you guys are so bad at it. Charles, like, you can't really just like tell your strategy on a public team radio, because everyone's going to know your strategy. But when you're not even like, when you're giving your driver, to put it blankly, shite instructions, and Charles is on the radio going, I could have like took up these losses better. I could have like we could have done so much better if we could have done something different. I know what I could have done to race differently and to get a better, to stay on the podium for God's sake. Yeah, I feel his frustration, because as a driver you should just be able to focus on the driving, not the strategy, not the what tires to put on. Like, it's just, I feel like Charles Leclerc should be getting like an extra wage, because it's just ridiculous. And we've seen it with even Carlos Sainz and even Lewis Hamilton. Sometimes this season has been like, why are we doing that? We could have done it this way and then we would have got this result. Like, why am I knowing this information and you guys aren't the strategists? It's just a bit that doesn't get old, that Ferrari strategists are clowns. And just and just cannot get a race together. Like, get it together. You are Ferrari. Come on. I don't know what goes on in that pit wall, but I think the kind of, I don't know how to explain it, guys. It's just, I think they just get so wrapped up in trying to be, oh, look, we're Ferrari, that they can't just like admit that they need to change their structure. That race team has needed to change so much. And I'm not saying let's change team principle for the 30 billionth time. Keep Fred Frisser. He's amazing. He's great. And he is perfect for Ferrari. But I think internally, there needs to be more communication. I don't work in Formula One. I'm not a strategist, but there needs to be a change in Ferrari. And I said this last year, and I said the year before, and I probably said it the past like 5 years. There needs to be an internal shake up, and try and fix this communication. And I've gone on too long about this, but Charles again expressed his frustration via the video, and he retracted later his statements and cited that it was really just setup concerns, possibly the ride height and the chassis issues. Charles, just we heard what you said, man. I just double down on it. Like, I find it kind of sweet in a way that Charles is like, oh, like you trying to retract the things that he says, because he cares about the team. He cares. He is so dedicated to Ferrari. And I feel bad for him because Ferrari do not deserve Charles Leclerc. I think any team would take him in a heartbeat. But Charles is so dedicated to Ferrari, and I understand like the kind of, like, I want to race for Ferrari. It's just such a prestigious team. If it was any other team and they were behaving this way, they would not be a prestigious team. But it's just a shame because I feel like Charles Leclerc, like, imagine him in McLaren, even a Mercedes. I think he could get so much better results, even win a championship. But no, and I think it's going to be a hot minute till we see Charles Leclerc win a championship, which hurts. I would love to see him win a championship. I know Brianna, who also does this podcast, is dying to see him win a championship. But no, we have to wait. He formerly expressed in a post-race comment in post-race comments as out of control pace drop, and I agree. His pace just dissipated, like it was like it was nothing. Like, literally, like, in quality must have just been an anomaly, because just in that race he had no pace. Again, they were trying to figure it out during on the radio what was going on. But I even with the pace drop being, as he quoted, out of control, I still think strategy was just the main thing to kill his race, really put the nail in the coffin, to be honest. Yeah, it was a hard watch. But I want to also talk about how anger can kind of definitely give you a 5-second time penalty, as we saw Charles with him and George Russell. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, George was trying to overtake Leclerc and then Charles moved, I think, slightly on the first hit my mic, apologies, on one of the laps, and George said it was moving under braking, which, when I was watching the playback, sorry, I was like, no, I don't really, maybe a little bit, but I don't think it would be enough to validate like a penalty. And in my mind at that moment, I was like, but if he does it, if he keeps doing this like slight moving, he's going to get a penalty. Well, on the next lap, on the exact same spot, again, same thing happens again. George Russell tries to overtake Leclerc. And Leclerc just turns his wheel, like, basically into George. And I think just, like, again, before all this, we had those, like, furious team radio calls. I think Charles was just so angry with how, he's gotten this pole position, something that hasn't really happened this season. Um, and finally a chance to get on the podium, get some points for the team. It's all gone to shit. To put it blankly, all gone to shit. My team won't listen to me. And he was just like, you know what? I'm turning the wheel. Because it was so unlike Charles. I have really never seen Charles get done for anything, like get any penalties for moving under braking. It was really unlike him, I think, this race. And I think it's all due to frustration. And I feel really awful for him. Because it's kind of, he's letting the anger get to him. And it's easy for me to say, hey, just, calm down a bit and get your head in the game. But I think if I had years upon years of Ferrari abuse, I guess, if we're going to put it blankly, I would feel, I think I would just drive into everyone at that point. I think I would just start, moving people off the track, do a bit of a Verstappen and just get frustrated. So I just feel bad for him. I just feel bad. And I know I've kind of harped on about this for a good wee while now, but I just feel awful for Leclerc. There needs to be like a Ferrari Anonymous, ex-Ferrari drivers can talk to each other about their frustrations. I mean, I'm sure Sebastian Vettel would have plenty to say about Ferrari. And I think this is like the curse of Ferrari. They, world championship winning drivers come to Ferrari, okay? For that like legacy and for that like kind of like Hollywood story, do you know what I mean? And then they just get beaten down to nothing. And I'm just so surprised that Charles can like stay here at Ferrari for so long. Yeah, I don't know, man. It was unusual from Leclerc, but I understand where it came from. Of course he got a penalty for it. And he finished P4. But moving on to Lewis Hamilton. So let's just talk about his race first before we go into his comments. Okay. He had a very poor qualifying. I mean, out in Q2, and started P12, and he finished the race in P12. He was laughed by leaders, and I mean, it's probably such a soul destroying feeling to, you've got so many world championships under your belt. You've had such a successful F1 career. Even when you weren't doing well, you were at Mercedes and you were still getting points, even on the podium sometimes. And now you're back in P12. You're out in Q2. Like, that hurts. That hurts. And to be lapped by, people that you were like neck to neck with the year before. Oof. A hard pill to swallow for Hamilton. And he made it very clear that it was hard to swallow because he called himself useless and said Ferrari should consider a driver change. Oof. I was kind of shocked by those comments, to be honest, especially the driver change comment. You can, have a bad week and say, I'm a bit useless. But to be like, yeah, they should change their driver. Sorry, Lewis, you need to go on a wee holiday somewhere and relax because that is not the championship winning Hamilton that we know. That's not the GOAT. That is not the GOAT. Why did I say that? Sorry, I got myself off by saying that. That sounds very cringy. Anyway, it's not the Lewis Hamilton we're used to seeing. And I fear this, and I think I spoke about this on the podcast or even to other F1 fans. I fear that Lewis would not be able to make Ferrari work for him, and he would get down on himself and just kind of. I'm not saying that Lewis has given up. It sounds like it, but I don't think, he would just be like, right, I'm throwing in the towel. I just feel sad for him that he can't make it work. It's just, I think it's a teething issue. And to be honest, I think most teams are looking at 2026 at this point. I mean, Lewis needs to kind of take this year as a write-off, take this year as adjusting to the team, adjusting to the car, seeing himself in red and really put everything into 2026, because he's not going to be winning championships with that attitude. He's not. He's not. And I'm kind of hoping that Ferrari maybe come out on top next year, and be ones to watch with their new car, and with all the rule changes. We can really be seeing the kind of the race calendar and the race teams shake up. But I just I feel awful for Lewis. I think he needs to go and kind of give his head a shower, I guess, um, and just give himself that time to kind of adjust. Going to one team and another, it must be so difficult because every team, their car is different, the setup's different, even down to the environment's different, and that can change so much for someone's psyche, even on a race weekend. And I know people are probably saying, "Oh, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's been used to this. He should be able to, just be able to knock out the park." But that's just it's these cars, especially the F1 cars we have now. They're so every different team has a completely different car in a way. They're so difficult to understand. They're like little rocket ships that have so many buttons and controls. So I'm giving Lewis the benefit of the doubt. It's the same that I do with rookies. I don't think we should have rookies for a year and then go, oh, they're not on the podium, let's kick them. And I'm not trying to compare Lewis to a rookie, but he's a rookie when it comes to Ferrari. So give him time, and hopefully we see Hamilton back at the top of the grid, maybe next year, or you never know, he could surprise us. But one last thing, the Ferrari principal, Fred Vasseur, Fred Vasseur stated that Hamilton remains frustrated but not demotivated. Fred, I kind of think he's a bit demotivated. Let's just say he's not in the best spirits. Okay, we can say that. So moving on to George Russell and kind of a bit of talk about Mercedes. George, you know what? Fair play. He came in at P3, and I wasn't expecting that this weekend. I again expected Leclerc to be up there and the two McLarens, but no. George was like quietly opportunistic. He was lurking in the corners and he overtook Leclerc late to claim that P3. Not too much to talk about when it comes to Mercedes, just that George, yeah, he was opportunistic. He was waiting. He knew that Ferrari was not going to do well. Or to be honest, he probably knew, Ferrari going to, mess this up on their own, so I can just try and overtake and, you know, they'll mess up the strategy anyway. I think as a driver, I would be like, if I was racing, say, in a Mercedes, and I'm like, okay, I'm like head to head with like Ferrari or something, I'd be like, you know what? They're going to mess it up anyway with strategy at some point. So I don't really need to put too much pressure on myself. I just need to be there at the points at the right time. And probably most drivers on the grid probably think that. Sorry, Ferrari. I'm absolutely harping on them. Apologies to the Ferrari fans listening. I am a Ferrari fan myself. I have to make fun of how idiotic they are sometimes, because if not, I would cry. But anyway, moving on to Red Bull, let's talk about Verstappen. Let's talk about Verstappen because he qualified P8, and all weekend, all you heard on his radio was him struggling with grip, the balance, and this has been a reoccurring issue that I've kind of clocked on to at least the past couple races. Max is just the common thing every time that radio comes up. It's no grip. I can't no grip on this car, and he does kind of slide all over the place. Even at this race, it's a reoccurring issue that needs to be addressed. Because again, Red Bull, they've had a hard time. Okay, Christian Horner isn't there anymore. They just haven't been at the top, and Max, he's used to winning the championships. He's not getting them anymore. He's not getting them anymore. That number one on his car is going to go this season because he's nowhere near close to Lando or Oscar. Yeah, they've kind of just hit a dip. And I keep expecting, oh, they're going to surprise me this week, Red Bull. Are they going to come out on top? Are they going to fight the McLarens? But no, Especially this weekend. No. Qualifying P8, ugh. And he finished, where did he finish? P9, yeah. So he didn't even get to finish finish where he qualified. He finished lower than that, and it's just a bit. They need to. I don't know. Something needs to change. Maybe an upgrade. Just it just wasn't the race for Max this weekend. They had a two-stop strategy, and he was lapped a load of times. Post-race, though, the team admitted that tyre strategy failed. The grip issues are persistent. Again, like I mentioned, we hear that every weekend. And the team say it's a mystery. They don't know why they can't get grip. So yeah, I don't know how you fix a mystery, Red Bull. But get on it, I guess. You got a wee summer break. Get those people at Milton Keynes to try and try and sort it out. Yeah, kind of worrying. And Max seems to handle it quite well, the no grip issue, but you know, you still got no grip. You're still going to be sliding all about and losing precious seconds, milliseconds at that point. Every little second counts in F1. So yeah, kind of worrying. Hopefully the issue doesn't get worse. But it could. I'm going to be honest. It could. Moving on to Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso. Let's go. A solid execution of a one-stop strategy, might I add. Finishing in P5, and this is Aston Martin's best result of the season so far. Hell yes. Listen, I've got a soft spot for Fernando, to be honest. I put my hands up. I like to see the old dog win. I like to see the rookie win. It was a really good drive from Fernando. He managed his tires well and stayed clean through a lot of the midfield kind of chaos that was going on. In the broadcast that I was watching from Sky Sports. Honestly, there wasn't like too much talk about Fernando. There's a couple wee like, oh, look at this overtake that he's done. And then when it came to the end of the race, I was looking at, okay, who's finished where? I was like, P5? Well, oh, I didn't know he finished P5. Incredible result for Aston Martin. And needed, because that team is, since they're kind of dropped from 2023, it's been a hard hill to climb. And I'm just happy to see Fernando getting nearer to the top again, because remember when he was on the podium in 2023, like that surprise, like what the hell, like that that was incredible. And I know we're not going to get there this season. I know that, but like, can a girl not just like dream a little bit? We saw Nico Hulkenberg on the podium. Fernando Alonso can get on the podium. Come on, guys. Anyway, speaking of kind of Nico Hulkenberg and Kick Sauber, Gabriel Bortoleto, P6? Scored P6. That's a career best. And, he was able to capitalize on the clean air and the consistency. He was another kind of quiet performer in the turbulent midfield chaos top six. And I have to say, for a rookie, he's doing really, really well, like really incredibly well. Especially in the tractor that he is driving, of the Kick Sauber. Well, I have to say, the Kick Sauber has done pretty well so far this season. Probably the best results they've ever gotten. And of course, we know that it's not going to be Kick Sauber for very long. This is the last year of Kick Sauber. But, I mean, incredible stuff. I really hope that we see Bortoleto on the grid next year. I think he's really proven his worth with, again, the shitbox of a car that he has. And it'll be a shame to see him go, to be honest. I really hope that we see him on the grid again, if not in another racing series, maybe Formula E, IndyCar, wherever he wants to go in the world. It would be a shame to kind of just be like, you've done well and you've got a lot of talent. Goodbye. So hopefully not. So that is the main bulk of the race. Kind of a boring race to me, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I'm sure some of you guys will agree. We needed a safety car. We needed a virtual safety car. We needed something. I would have took the virtual safety car. We needed something to spice up that race, or a little bit of rain. But let's talk about just the championship and the constructors' driver standings, okay? Oscar Piastri leads with 284 points. In second, we have Norris at 275. And then we have Verstappen, who's kind of trailing behind with 187 points. The title race is close. It's close. And like I said earlier, it could really flip-flop towards it could go to the last race at this point, and I kind of hope it does, because interesting, engaging. I like that stuff. Get a bit of the 2021 feel back with it going down to the last race. I have to say it's been a pretty incredible watch from the two McLaren boys. Yeah, and I can't wait to see where it goes and who's going to come out on top. Place your bets, guys. I'm putting my bets on Oscar Piastri. I think he's going to win it. And I think that's going to really hurt Lando Norris. And, he's been in McLaren much longer than Oscar and, was there for when that team was terrible. Let's be honest, when that team was shockingly bad. And I guess you can look at it and be like, Lando deserves it more than Oscar, but I don't really think that. I think, best driver, may the best driver win, whether you've been in that team for years or you're more recent to the team. It's whoever drives the best. And my bets are on Oscar. So here's hoping. I don't know. I might place a wee bet on that. When we come to the Constructors' Championships, I mean, McLaren have it in the bag, to be honest. McLaren continues dominance with a 559 points, which is 299 points ahead of Ferrari, and Ferrari are just at 260. Mercedes have 236 points, and Red Bull, we don't even need to go there. We don't need to go there. Yes, that's to wrap all this up. I mean, McLaren, incredible. Ferrari, sort your shit out, please. Oh my God, please. Red Bull, I don't know, fix the mystery. And the next round is the Dutch Grand Prix in Zandvoort on the 31st of August. Yeah, so guys, enjoy the summer break. We will be doing more content as usual over the summer break. We're thinking of doing a bit of a mid-season review, try and kind of sum up the races that we've had so far, more predictions, maybe change our predictions from the start of the season. And yeah, talk all things F1 as usual. So thank you so much for listening to me ramble, because no one else will. Again, we will be back to normal. With me, Brianna and Daniela, you won't have to listen to just me, which is a godsend. Again, leave us a review, leave us a comment. Thank you so much for listening, and we shall see you next week in the Fastlane Collective. See ya. Bye.
Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you. Glad you came too.